Hi everybody, Shabbat Tov, Chodesh Novarach. This Shiur is going to be for Asher Mas'ud Ben Chana, whose yahrzeit it is today. May his Neshama have a uplifting Shamayim Amen. Today we want to talk about how the importance of Shabbat that was in last week's Parsha. That how HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and before he says to build the Mishkan, that the Shabbat is so important that even when it comes to building a house or structure, that Hashem is going to put his name in that structure and he's going to come live amongst the Jewish people. Hashem says when it comes to Shabbat, you have to rest. I don't want you to work on that tabernacle, even though it's very holy and I want to come as soon as possible to live with you. But Shabbat, when I gave Shabbat, I want you to rest on Shabbat. Nothing pushes off Shabbat except for Pikuach Nefesh. And we have a story that indicates this importance. We have a Baruch Hashem, we were zoche to have in the last 70 years the Rebbe Mizvil, Rav Moshe Gedalia Mizvil, who before coming to Eretz Yisrael, he was actually in Russia, and the Russian communists, they sent to Siberia. And we know that whoever is sent to Siberia, his chances of coming out is basically zero. But Baruch Hashem, after 7 years of working very hard in the snow and everything, and he was already weak physically, Baruch Hashem, but he had a emunah bitachon, and it came the day, him and another Jew that was with him, they came and the mefaked, the commander who was in charge, he says that this day you're going to go free, and I just want you to sign over here. Well, what was the problem? The problem was that day was Shabbat. And the Rebbe Mizvil, Moshe Gedalia says, I really want to go home, but today's our very holy day. It's the Shabbat, Sabbath. It's Shabbat. We can't mess with the Shabbat. It's like, what do you mean? You crazy? If you don't sign right now, I'm going to send you back to the underground dungeon over there, and you're going to rot. What are the chances of you getting out? He says, I understand what you're saying, but Shabbat is Shabbat. I cannot pick up the pen and sign my name because it goes against the laws of Shabbat. Okay? So the commander thinks he's crazy. He turns to the other Jew who wasn't as great as Rav Moshe Gedalia, thinking that he will sign. He says, okay, what about you, Jew? And although the Jew, he would have signed in other instances, but this time he was so motivated by the Misrad Nefesh and the self-sacrifice of the Zevada rabbi, he told them, I'm not going to sign either. How could I sign? Shabbat is Shabbat. What difference does it make? Although he's the Admor, he's the big Rav, and I'm a simple Jew, but Hashem also told me to keep Shabbat. I'm not going to sign. The commander is going out of his mind, running around. Finally, he comes back and says, you're both crazy, but I'm so moved by your honesty and your faith to your halachot and Shabbat. I'm going to sign for both of you, and you both go free. You see from this that when a person sacrifices himself for Shabbat, he thinks he's losing money. I make all my money on Shabbat, Rabbi. It's all a fantasy. It's not true. He said this before. All the money that he thinks he's making, of course the Yitzhara has to make him feel that he's making more money. It's going to go down the drain in an accident, chas v'shalom. He has to go to a doctor. Why do you have to let it come to that? The sanctity of Shabbat, when Hashem says that this is a covenant between you and me, and if you keep it, and you're going to get only blessings. Mikora bracha, all the blessings come from Shabbat, and if you don't, chas v'shalom, it's the opposite. B'ezrat Hashem, as thinking Jews, we should take this story and understand how important it is. If God Himself did not want the Jewish people to work on Shabbat, to build His house, so much so that we have to understand not to mess with Shabbat and only keep it, and only we're going to get bracha that way, and not the opposite. Amen. Ken Yiratzon Chodesh Tov U'Marach.